When we think about the things that could damage our homes, our eyes usually go up, right? We're looking at the sky for storm clouds, or maybe checking out the roof. But the truth is, the most relentless, constant battle is happening somewhere we almost never look, right underneath our feet.
So, if it's not the wind and it's not the rain, what is it? What's the single biggest, most constant threat that your house has to deal with day in and day out?
And the answer, well, it's kind of surprising. And it's something we almost never think about. It's the very ground your home is built on. So let's dig in.
Okay, so to really get why that's the case, we've got to appreciate the hidden network that's keeping our homes running. And I'm not talking about a random jumble of pipes and drains. It's so much more than that.
A much better way to think about it is like your home's circulatory system. It's this incredibly complex network that's responsible for bringing a vital resource, water, to every single corner of your house 24/7. It is absolutely essential.
But here's the kicker. That system is up against totally different enemies depending on where you live. And to really see what I mean, we're going to look at a perfect case study, a place called Leak City, Texas. See, down on the Texas Gulf Coast, a house isn't just sitting there peacefully on a plot of land. No way. It's in this constant, silent fight with some really powerful environmental forces that are actively trying to mess with its hidden systems.
The main villain in this whole story is something called expansive clay soil. And this stuff, it's not just regular old dirt. It's a material that is literally alive with motion. It swells up like a sponge when it gets wet, and then it shrinks way back down as it dries out.
And the difference this makes is, well, it's night and day. On one hand, you have stable soil, which is great. It acts like a proper foundation, just holding those pipes steady. But this expansive clay, it's the total opposite. It's constantly squeezing, bending, and putting those pipes under an incredible amount of stress.
So if you're in a place like League City, you're basically fighting a three-front war. First, there's the squeeze from that constantly shifting clay soil. Then you've got the clog, because the hard water in the area leaves behind these mineral deposits that just choke your pipes. And to top it all off, you have the corrosion, thanks to all that humid, salty air blowing in from the Gulf that just loves to eat away at metal.
Okay, so what happens when this hidden system is just constantly getting beaten up? Well, it doesn't just fail quietly, it starts to fight back. And it sends out these warning signals that show up as those everyday household headaches we all know and hate.
And you gotta understand, these things aren't just random bad luck. That dripping faucet, that slow drain, it's actually a symptom. It's a warning sign that your home's systems are starting to lose the battle against the world around them. And you can literally trace it all back. So that shifting clay soil, it can cause these tiny, invisible leaks under your foundation. And the first clue you get is a water bill that's suddenly through the roof. Or those hard water minerals, they build up and cause your water heater to fail, and suddenly you have no hot water. It's a direct chain of cause and effect every single time.
So if your house is in this constant war with its environment, how do you fight back? Well, this is where the modern plumber stops being just a handyman and becomes more of a high-tech strategist.
The pros today, they have a battle plan. They don't just show up and start banging on pipes. Step one is always diagnosis, using technology to find the real root cause of the problem. Then they form a plan of attack, execute the repair with the right gear, and guarantee their work. Because a real fix has to be a lasting one.
And yeah, we are way beyond just wrenches and plungers here. The tools of the trade are seriously advanced now. We're talking tiny video cameras that can travel deep inside your pipes, high-pressure water jets that blast through anything, and electronic detectors that can find a leak buried under a concrete slab without having to tear up your entire floor. It's all about precision warfare.
A huge part of the strategy is also about choosing the right materials for the battlefield. So take a look at PEX piping versus old school copper. Copper is rigid, right? So when that clay soil starts to squeeze, it can crack under the pressure. But PEX is flexible. It moves with the soil instead of fighting it, which makes it a material that's basically designed to survive in that kind of harsh environment.
All right, so let's zoom out for a second. We've been using League City as a really specific example, but this lesson applies everywhere. It's all about learning to listen to the unseen story that your home is telling you about where it lives. I think this quote just nails it. We see a small leak and we think, oh, that's a simple problem, easy fix.
But what's really going on is that it's just one word in this huge ongoing conversation happening between your house and the specific piece of earth it sits on. And that right there is the big takeaway. Your plumbing system isn't just a bunch of pipes and fixtures. It's a living record. It tells the story of your local geology, the chemistry of your water, and even the climate you live in. So the next time you hear a weird gurgle from a drain or you spot a tiny little drip under the sink, don't just see it as another thing to fix. Take a second and ask yourself, what story is my home trying to tell me right now?